Thank you. The sun is shining for once, which makes a big difference.
It does. It just lifts your heart, doesn't it?
It really does.
Fills your soul.
It does make a massive difference. And of course, well, we were bathed in sunshine. Actually, here we are talking about it as if it's something we haven't seen for a long time. I was with you. Well, we were in the same place at the same time in St. David's for the St. David's Day Parade. And of course, there was funding put forward for a lot of events through Welsh Government to actually celebrate the patron saint. I know that there's some things still to come. This week, actually, with Half West County doing their football festival after it was rained off last week, wasn't it wonderful to come out in force and celebrate our patron saint?
It was absolutely lovely. The atmosphere was wonderful because I think it's rained every day since Christmas until that point. So it was great. And, there was just a really warm community spirit there. And it was all the little girls dressed up in their Welsh outfits and dragons, and of course we had the samba band leading the way. It was just marvelous, absolutely marvelous. Great atmosphere. Daffodils were out. And of course, it wasn't just St. David's. Haverfordwest had a fantastic parade, I'm told, which was fantastic. And, you couldn't move in Solva for Welsh flags, which was fantastic. So events going on everywhere. And that's what I want to see. I want to really celebrate everything it is about being Welsh.
Yeah, I think I broke my record of the number of bowls of cowl I consumed in a 48-hour period. How many did you end up having?
Oh, I had quite a few, I can assure you. At least I didn't have to eat a raw leek, which is, I think, what they make the army people do.
The initiation on the 1st of March is a leek,
Oh, gosh. Yeah, no thanks. I'll pass on that one. Thank you very much. And of course, just as other Senedd hopefuls have done, you've launched the campaign with your colleagues at Labour for the upcoming election. I imagine that feels very real now.
Oh, it's very real. Yes, we've got literally 3 weeks after this week left in the Senedd before we get out and campaign properly. So it was really good. And, we're very aware that people are worried about the cost of living at the moment. So it was great this week also to put a freeze on rail fares. So that's good. So that'll be alongside now our £2 bus fare cap that we'll offer if we get back in. And of course, we've said we're going to do a pay rise for the lowest paid school support staff. So all of those things I hope will help take the pressure off people. We'll be giving more help and support for people with insulation and just warming their homes, because you've got to cut these bills down. People are struggling. And then I guess the most relevant bit for people in Pembrokeshire is our proposal to build a new hospital in West Wales. And, we've been around this block before. And it was proposed before. There was a lot of objection to it. But the problem with it, I think, is that actually, if you don't have a really clear proposal for what is going to happen in future, what you see is decline. And so I just thought, enough of this. We need, if everyone else is going to be getting new hospitals, I want to make damn sure that West Wales gets its own hospital. And obviously there'll be a lot of negotiation around that, but we need something sustainable for West Wales in the long run. So a new hospital for West Wales, I hope, will give some clarity in terms of the sense of direction if we get back into power.
Yeah, so because this is what I'm trying to get my head around, is what's a pledge and what's something that government is doing at the moment in the run up to that. And it was only last week that we were talking about Withybush and the services changing, the emergency surgery all going. We have had this tabled for a new hospital probably 2 or 3 years ago. I think your predecessor was the one that originally started talking about it with the health board. So what's changed? What's actually going to change to make that happen?
I tell you what's changed is money. And so up until now, of course, because we didn't have, we've had cuts for years and years and years from the UK government, but now the tap's been switched on, back on again. So now we've got more what they call capital funded stuff to build. And we're saying, absolutely, we're going to start building again. And it's not just, you just think about it, it's not just about them providing this new service. It's also about, think about the jobs you create in building a hospital, it's remarkable. So look, a lot of it has been kind of worked up before. Obviously, you'll have to go back to consult with the public and whatever. But we can't keep going like this. We can't keep being in a situation where where there's no clear plan for what the future looks like. And what I wasn't going to have is going into election without a plan. And, you know, if Cardiff was going to get a new hospital, if North Wales was going to see a massive injection of cash, I just thought it's not on that West Wales is not having it. So it's really important that we have that vision for where we're heading in West Wales. It will mean differences, but we can't keep going as we are.
No. I will bring up comments of Sam Kurtz, the Conservative member for this region as well, towards the south, talking about, well, we already have the bricks and mortar. Why aren't we doing more to staff it? We'll let you do your research and in the run up to this election as to who you think has that plan, I suppose, is there.
Yeah, I think that's part of the issue at the moment is it's really difficult to recruit, you know, real specialists and experts. You know, you just go into Worthy Bush emergency department and, you know, the number of permanent staff there, you know, we have to bring people in a lot, and that's really, really expensive. And so, you know, that's the irony is it's actually, so we've got to do something to attract the staff, make it a really good, viable place for us. Otherwise, you know, the real issue is we just won't be able to sustain these services. We've got to make it attractive for people to want to come and work here. I mean, I don't know why they don't want to come and work here, but that is the reality. It's really, really difficult. I remember, you know, going to work there overnight once with nurses. 50% of the people there at the time were agency nurses. Now that's been brought down a lot, but, you know, a lot of that has been recruitment from overseas. So, you know, we have to be realistic about how do we keep our services going? How do we attract people here? And also, like, we deserve a new hospital. It's our turn.
You mentioned overseas there, and overseas at the moment, we're very aware that there's Welsh nationals abroad, even people from on our doorstep here in Haverfordwest and beyond. There's a lot of fear at the moment out there. Have you got a message to anyone that might be impacted?
I'm really concerned about what's going on in the Middle East, and I'm really concerned for innocent people being caught up in this, and I'm really concerned about how it's already spreading and how much more it could spread. And there are Welsh people who are caught up in this conflict. There are Welsh people who live there in places like Dubai, and there are Welsh people who happen to be there on holiday. Lots of people in transit, for example. So the important thing is that they get in touch with the British government in terms of making sure that they register their presence there, so that there's an opportunity to get in touch, keep them in touch with what's going on, and then opportunities to get out if they want to get out. But, you know, listen, this is going to affect us all. It's not just going to be about what happens there. We've already seen a massive increase in the price of gas and oil. That hasn't fed through as much yet as it might if this carries on. But look, that's a real issue for people in Pembrokeshire. You know, a lot of people in Pembrokeshire in particular, they use oil to heat their homes. Mm-hmm. So, you know, it's more of a problem for us. And obviously we've got those big LNG terminals in Milford Haven, and, you know, they've stopped producing LNG now in the Gulf because they're worried about what might go on there. So, I just think this underlines the fact that we need to develop our own renewable energy resources, so we're less dependent on situations like this. Do you remember when Ukraine was attacked? You know, the gas prices went through the roof. Mm-hmm. You know, we all felt those bills going up. We can't keep going like this. So that's what you need in a government, is to say, hang on, are we going to avoid this in future? You've got to really look to the long term, and it's not stuff you can switch on overnight. You need a really long-term plan for where you're heading with this stuff. So, and then that gives you opportunities for jobs and stuff like that as well. So look, I'm really worried about the Middle East and the impact that it may have on us. But I'm also, you know, I'm also aware that it's touching individuals out there. There are people who are stuck there at the moment and who are scared.
Yeah, wishing everyone a safe return journey home as and when that time allows. And then looking forward then, Eluned, as representative for Mid and West Wales, what does your calendar look like? I imagine now that, your colleagues have already been at Pembrokeshire College, so it's now taking the questions from the public.
That's right. And it was great. I visited Pembrokeshire College last Friday, actually, with the Senedd Outreach Programme. So I was there meeting students there because I was unable to go to the discussion they had on Monday because we had our launch at the same time. So Mark Tierney represented Labour at that event. But it was really good. And of course, it's important because 16-year-olds will be allowed to vote for the first time. And, they need information. Often they're more aware than older people because they're on TikTok and whatever, and they do get information. But it was really important. Sometimes you just need to explain, how it works. What does the Senedd do? We're responsible for health and education and the economy, and then we're the ones who give the money to the local government so that they can look after your bins and your roads and your libraries and your parks and stuff. So all of that kind of basic explaining how the system works. And it was good because you get questions then. One of the lads there was challenged me about Milford School needing a new building. So it was really nice to be able to say, look, it's on its way. We've built new school in Haverfordwest High. We've got the new Caerellen School. There's new schools throughout the county, but Milford Haven's coming next. So it's not. It's just about there now in terms of being fully agreed.
Yeah. And lastly, your song choices this week, they've very much got a theme around them.
Oh, definitely. This is all about women this week. Listen, in my life, it's all about women every week, but there we go. This week is International Women's Day, and it's on the weekend. And so it was great. I went to a couple of events last night. I'm just about to go off to visit a women's health hub. We've got women's health hubs around the whole of Wales now, which is brilliant. It's one of the commitments I made when I became First Minister, because I think we've got to get women's health taken really seriously. Sometimes women feel that they're not listened to, and that their issues are not taken seriously. And things like research, is amazing. You think about how much money goes into things like Viagra and how much money goes into helping support women with period pains. It's crazy. So we have to. So I put more money into research for women's health. And so I'm really keen to make sure that we celebrate all it is to be a woman this weekend. And that's why I've chosen two songs with the theme of women. So I'm Every Woman and Girl is on Fire by Alicia Keys this week.
And that's on the way next. Thank you so much for your time as ever on this Wednesday morning. Have a lovely week. And we look forward to catching up to seeing what the headlines are next week.
Diolch yn fawr iawn. Thank you.
It's 20 minutes past 8.
Folly Farm sponsors